Hi guys, welcome to part 4 of this comprehensive Serum overview, where we're going to be checking out how to use the sub oscillator as well as the noise oscillator. So jumping right into it, you turn on your oscillator, your sub oscillator, the exact same way you do your normal oscillators. And with it active, you will see all the different waveforms illuminate green. You are given 7 of them. You get a sine, you get a round rectangle, you get a triangle, you get a saw, you get a square, and you get a pulse. And with any of those 7, you are given the controls of octave from -4 to +4. You are given pan, and you are given a level control of how loud the frequencies are. So let's listen to these real quick. There's a sine, standard sine. There's the round rectangle. It's like a buzzy sine. There's a triangle, saw, square, and pulse. All right, so let's actually talk about the coolest feature, in my opinion, in the sub oscillator. It is this direct out. So let's talk about that. So let's go back to a sine. All right, so let's say you were trying to layer in some sub frequencies in your bass. Let's say you make a wobble. Let's say you have a lead that needs some low end content, or you're doing a drop lead and it just needs to have more beef to it, right? Well, a common thing to do is trigger or load up a sine or a sub frequency. Well, here is, if any of you guys are massive users, I actually did a tutorial on the ADSR network detailing how you can bypass all the filters, all the effects using one of your oscillators with the bypass mod. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Well, Serum makes it extremely easy. So let's turn on oscillator A for this demonstration. So now I have this waveform and the sub. There's no sub, sub. Right, it's adding that low frequency. Well, now let me go to my effects, and I'm going to turn on the distortion, some flanger, or maybe not flanger, delay, and reverb. Okay, and I know that the reverb doesn't sound good right now or musical, but it doesn't need to for this purpose. I want to show you how this direct out works. So right now, if I turn off oscillator A, my sub frequencies, they have the effects on them, right? And you typically wouldn't want that. So if you just click this direct out, now listen, I still have my effects on. I still have the distortion, the delay, and the reverb. Well, the sub will not have delay, reverb, or distortion on it, which is really helpful because now just my higher frequency content does. So this is really, really helpful for not muddying up the low end content of your synth sounds with delays and reverbs and all of that stuff. All right, so that sums up the sub oscillator. Let's check out the noise oscillator. This is one of my favorite things inside of Serum. I love it. So at its core, the noise oscillator is just a basic or generic sample player, and it's loading and playing samples. So you can make your own. You can download your own. I'm sure a lot of sound sets will start to come with their own noise samples. So you can see you get these different categories, much like you do with the oscillators. The analog one is where you're going to have your standard white, bright, pink type noises. So right now I have it set up on a white. Right? Here is bright white. Okay? And now I'm not going to talk about all the different noise types in this because that would make this a very, very, very long part of the video. But let's talk about, I will point out some interesting things. Let's talk about the kick ones. There's a kick sample. So like I said, this is just loading samples. So you could, in theory, load in your own kicks if you wanted. You just have to place the samples in a folder that's in the noise directory, the noise sample directory. All right, so let's look at some other interesting ones here. Let's go to this soar and let's look at Horns of Fear. All right, that's a cool sound. So you might have saw me turn on this button. You might be wondering, why did I do that? Well, when this isn't on, everything will trigger like that. It'll loop. If you turn this off, it's one shot. See, I'm still holding that key down and it's not playing. It just plays when you trigger a note. All right, so now let's go back to that source sound. Horns of Fear. All right, now this right here is a key tracking. So this will allow you to play notes and keys and actually chords. So as you can see, I mean, you could load up samples. Hip-hop people could actually really use this to their advantage. I actually have made some piano sounds to layer with plucks and things like that. right? So you can get really creative with this noise generator. So let's actually talk about the controls now. This is obviously where you load all your samples. You can toggle back and forth, left and right. You have these, which we already touched on, pitch. Now this will turn the pitch if you're, for whatever reason, you need to tune it, or if you're using a white noise type sound. It applies kind of a pitch sweep to it. Phase, this will determine where along the sample things are playing. Random will, every time a note is triggered, the higher you have it up, the more Serum will kind of randomly trigger phase offsets. And the pan will, of course, pan things left and right. And level is the volume. So that sums up the sub oscillator and noise oscillator inside of Serum. I'll see you in the next video.